Hey folks, welcome back to DCS. So today's video was gonna be a Skyhawk video because someone requested it in the comments a bit back. I can't remember who you are, sorry. However, lots of red people on. So often, all the Cold War servers tend to be more blue stacked than red. So I thought, you know what, Skyhawk video, probably not going to be too bad because I'm always at a numbers advantage and the Skyhawk can actually hold its own in a fight relatively well. Which I'm sure we'll get into once I actually do manage to get Skyhawk footage, but on this occasion, for whatever reason, Red decided that they were gonna like double or even triple our numbers, and it was a mess. And although I was getting close to places that I could bomb or attack or otherwise destroy, I wasn't gonna make it out again if I kept trying to attack them. So I often ended up just ditching all my ordnance and bugging out, or trying to dogfight, or I just ended up dying because I was outnumbered and there were no friendlies around. So fueled by rage of successive failures, I think, well, I lost count, to be honest. I must have tried at least 4 or 5 times. I thought, you know what, let's just hop in the F5 because it's actually quite rare these days that I get an opportunity to flex the F5 a little bit, and it has been further updated. It's got a few more sounds and animations. It's got some really nice vapes going on at the moment. Unfortunately, unlike the last few videos, there's no working replay track for this one, which is a shame because of all the things I want to see the external footage of, I think the F5 is probably the most interesting because of the changes it's gone through. But that's not the case, so we can't really do anything about it. Go and moan Tweagle Dynamics for me, and we'll see if we can get a replay track for the next video on the Skyhawk. Anyway, so yeah, F5 video then. We actually end up getting 6 kills and surviving this match, which I'm maybe a little bit of a spoiler. I'm going to try and cut it down to the highlights for you. So hope you enjoy. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers. Alright, so we're up, and we're heading into the AO. There is 2 MiG-21s, one 12 and one 16 nautical miles off the nose somewhere. Both hot. Drop in altitude because they're both on the deck. We can use our altitude to exchange it for energy. We want to get our speed nice and high. One of them is now cold, other is still hot. My assumption from this is that they're going to be tangled up with someone. If there was no one else for them to bother with, they would continue in a head-on attitude towards me, but if one of them is now facing the other direction, that is a pretty good sign that there's a friendly around. They're now both about 4 miles away. One is still hot, one is still flanking right. I don't think they've been hot the whole time. I think that the reports are just catching them when they're facing me by chance. We can see a missile out on something there. Missile connected, looks like a 21 fired the missile. Friendly firing another missile at 21, you can tell it's a 21 by the flare pattern heading left to right, so this is a hostile. Friendly seemed okay and is still dealing with the other guy, so we're going to focus this one. Using the speed we had stored, we're going up and over. Still able to track him against the trees on the Germany map, which is very rare. It's very difficult to do this on Caucasus. Either some sort of tech that Ugra have used for the Syria map brought to this one, or maybe it's just a general graphic change in the game. Because there are 2 21s and a friendly in the mix, we're going to use missiles, which I generally save for, well, this sort of situation. Friendly going overhead, friendly just ejected. We're now 1-on-1 with the remaining 21. Next closest contact is 49 miles away, so it is a true 1-on-1, we don't have anything to worry about particularly. Although, we are on the contention map, if I haven't already mentioned that, and the way that the EWR reports work on this map is that you have to place them yourself, like your team has to place them using helis. If there aren't any, then you don't have any coverage, and even when you do have them, the coverage is actually really limited, so very likely that our coverage is poor and there could be more people around than I'm aware of. We do finally spot this 21. He is pretty slow. Actually managed to clip him in the head on there. Can't really tell if we did anything meaningful, any meaningful damage to him, but we're going to go up and over again. We retained our speed the entire time. He looks to be wallowing, he's slow, he's not climbing through his turn, and he's staying low to the deck, so he either doesn't see me or he's unable to pull up. Coming back down, he's continuing his right hand tail. I think he just doesn't know where I am.
So like you're 9 o'clock.
and then he must have got a report saying that I was very close to his 6, so he's kind of panicking, he's pulling hard, he's getting that salmon fish wobble thing going on. From what I've seen from this guy so far, I'm not particularly concerned, so I am just pulling hard and dropping throttle and staying behind him. And you know, it's been a while, I've been playing very rarely lately, so my gunnery is not what it once was. We do manage to clip his tail, which I don't think really does much, but for whatever reason he stalls out and tumbles out the air and he dies. So that worked out. We are now 2 kills down, we're 1 missile down, next nearest contact is 48.6 miles away to the north, so we're going to head in that direction. Due to the EWR coverage that I was talking about a second ago, there actually ends up being a pop-up to the south that's much closer, so we turn back around heading south to track this guy down. Report says he's within 8 miles. It also says his speed is 300 knots, which is ridiculously low for a 21. And as we get closer, based on his attitude, the smoke on the ground, and the fact that he's been engaged by a ground fight, I think this guy's actually been using the 21 to ground pound, which is a questionable decision. However, from my Skyhawk runs earlier this session, I ended up ditching my ordnance in the Skyhawk at one point because I was worried about being intercepted. I ditched it all, I went into a dogfight with the 21, and it ended up being a guy that was using it to ground pound, and he didn't pay me any mind at all. I think this is the same guy, so I'm still kind of butthurt about being forced to ditch everything on one of the runs that I could have actually made. You know, I could have made it work for the Skyhawk video. So I've got no sympathy for this guy at all, no mercy whatsoever. Drops his fuel tank, he's in burner. As we get closer, it really looks like he's got his air brakes out, so I'm honestly not sure what's going on with this guy. But I certainly know what's going on with him now, and so is the floor going to soon, if that's even English. Although there's no message has popped up to say that he's dead yet, but I think he's probably lost all control and will imminently be. Yeah. Anyway, moving on to kill number 4. After a while, we ended up closing to within 5 miles of the MiG-21. We were head-to-head. He was at about 4,000 feet. I'm slightly higher than him. We end up merging, and I actually never see him. And we're kind of on the clock here, because there's also a MiG-19 coming in about 9 miles away. And the MiG-19, in terms of dogfight performance, is arguably superior to the F-5 in most ways. We do find the 21. He does not see me. We're quite fast because we just dived, so we're going to use the speed to come up and over. I'm actually not in afterburner right now, believe it or not. I'm just not pulling very hard, but because of how fast we're going, we were slightly blocking out there. I can see the vapes coming off his 21, so I'm pretty sure that he's pulling really, really hard to try and get around on me. I'm just playing it pretty chill. I'm off burner still. We're holding 575 knots right now, which is absolutely insane. So we're going to just reel this guy in gradually. And at this point, he's still pulling hard, he's still getting slow. I know I've got buckets more energy than him, so I'm just going to continue what I'm doing. As he starts to climb, I push the burner in. He reverses his turn. Here's our opportunity. Pull hard for the flick shot. Clip his wing, can see a pylon falling off. Because we had so much energy banked, we just go up and over. MiG-19 now within 2.5 miles, and the 21 just ends up losing control and crashing. Worked out pretty well. Didn't take many shots at all. That's what we like to see. At this point I'm looking backwards, and there's the MiG-19, because of course he is, where else would he be? So the MiG-19 can pull about as hard as me if he's slow enough. He can keep energy better than me, he can out-accelerate me, he can out-climb me. The one thing that I have going for me in this situation is that the MiG-19's guns have a really low rate of fire, and they are ridiculously hard to aim. So even though he can out-accelerate, out-climb me, out-everything me pretty much, my goal here is just to try and reel him in and get him close. Because if I can get him close, I can get him to overshoot, and if I can get him to overshoot, then my guns are a lot more pray and spray-ish than the MiG-19's guns are. So I'm intentionally pulling super hard and just scissoring, just playing the one circle, continually pulling back into him. Even right now, pulling up at this energy state is stupid. But he, if he's smart, will know it's stupid, and that's going to make him think he can follow me up because he knows that his energy will be more workable because he's got the thrust advantage. And it works, he follows me back up, he gets really slow as well. And then all I've got to do right now is, look how freaking slow I am, I'm like barely 150 knots. Practically stalling out, you can see all the buffeting and all the jiggling and everything. I'm just staying slow, I'm hanging in place, because I know he won't get a shot on the way back down, but as he goes back down I can then fall in behind him. And although if I don't get this shot quickly, he'll be able to pull away and just sort of reset everything. I'll be able to reset my energy as well. So I'm just going to try and pull for the shot. And we do, in fact, manage to land it. So that worked out pretty well too. Moving on. So this is about 2 minutes later, and I was actually attempting to RTB because I've got a quarter of my fuel total remaining at the moment. But I can't really run away when there's a 21 that can chase me down, especially when I'm too far to use the burner to run because it'd stop me being able to get back. So we find him. I'm not actually sure if he can see me at this stage. We don't manage to get hits on in the head-on, but as we turn away, he just keeps diving away. I do still have an 89J, so if need be, given how dire our fuel situation is getting, we may end up having to use it. There is also another 21 14 miles away, so I'm kind of torn over keeping it for backup in case we need it. So fuel concern at the forefront of my mind. I'm not in burner, I'm trying not to dive more than necessary. That guy's actually climbing, which is going to make him slow, so I'm just flat turning without the afterburner on and seeing what he does. He doesn't actually seem to be willing to engage me, so I think maybe the J will make this distance and then I can start to run away before the other guy gets within a range that I have to worry about him. But the J betrays me completely and it just doesn't get there. However, the 21 then turns into me. I don't think he knew that this is where I was going. I was just kind of heading off because that direction was where my airbase is. And he just turns above me, and again I'm still not using the afterburner. He's got his bag on, so I'm in a pretty good state right now. Not too much to worry about. I managed to spray him at range, it knocks something off, and then he pulls hard. At this point I'm thinking of actually just leaving him to it, because he wasn't very aggressive, he wasn't really pushing me, I wasn't too concerned about him being a threat to me. So I'm considering just running away, but the other guy has actually got within 1 mile now, which is obviously very bad. So I'm trying to find him, trying to figure out where he is, and I'm just going to try and very quickly finish this guy off and then run away, and I've just spotted him. So I am using the burner here for all the vertical manoeuvres just because I can't risk being at a lower energy state. I'm going to try and play him in the one circle in a similar way that I did with the 19, just to try and get him to overshoot quicker. The F-5 actually has the advantage over the 21 in this regime because the 21 gets very floppy and bouncy and wobbly and it's even more impossible to aim, even though the 21's gun is a lot more dangerous. And even though we're basically stalled out, we end up falling almost on this guy, just failed to get the shot. He's in burner, he's nose down, he's probably going to open up some separation. I'm not in burner, I'm just kind of hanging in place. I'm going to let him fall under me and then pull in. Go for the shot here. We do actually clip him because something falls off his wing. And he just continues bugging out. But he's got a weird listing to his flight pattern right now. It kind of looks like he's yawing to the left super hard. So I'm wondering whether I did some sort of damage to his rudder. He is not much of a threat the way he's flying. He's popping flares all over the place. I think he's expecting to eat a missile any second. And then he very graciously, eventually, he says, he's actually running in the direction I want to be going to get back to friendly lines, so I'm quite happy to just keep following him without in the burner. He's come out of burner, and he very graciously ejects. So there is kill number 6. I'm actually unsure about whether the other guy that I hit crashes or not, because we could have got 7, but I just don't have any way of knowing. But I'll take that. So at this point our fuel is astronomically low, so I'm climbing up to altitude as quickly as possible. I'm not in burner. I'm keeping my angle shallow so I can retain energy in the climb as much as humanly possible, and then we'll skip to the landing. So once I got up to altitude, I basically just pointed towards the runway, dipped the nose very slightly, and then just literally went idle throttle. Also turned the boost pumps crossfeed thing on, so if one fuel tank runs out, we can actually feed both engines from just one remaining tank. And we're just on final, doing a big overhead brake, not by any... I'm not one for procedures. I can just see where the runway is and I'm coming around. There is a 21 within 10 miles that I was slightly worried about being chased down by on the way back, but the threat of the SAMs at the airbase, I think, are going to turn away. We're going gear and flaps down. Air brakes are out. And we're looking good, we're going to make it. We're actually still alright on fuel as well. We could probably have done another couple go-arounds. Quite a short runway this, so we are actually going to use the drag chute, which I tend not to bother with. And my lack of practice, I was actually unsure about where exactly I was going to touch down there. I felt like I was higher than I was, which is why I kind of nosed down a little bit before touchdown. Drag chute slows us down pretty damn quick. And that's the end of the sortie, folks. So I hope you've enjoyed that. Thanks a lot for watching. Keep your eyes peeled for Skyhawk footage coming up at some point in the future. Be sure to leave a like if you liked it, leave me a comment if you've got any questions, subscribe if you want to see more, consider hitting that join button if you want to get early access to uploads, and I'd very heavily appreciate you checking out the links in the description for our models and Pimax VR. That's it for me, or that's it from me for today, folks, so thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.